We had an old showdown, old slobber knocker between the Eagles and the Packers last night. I believe the Packers lost 7-10. I guess we talk about Minnesota. They got packed up by Baltimore. And Chicago, I think, came back and beat the Giants. I mentioned those games too, right? But last night it was a slobber knocker. I mean, Green Bay defense did a great job stuffing a run. I believe even before Lane Johnson got injured, they did a great job stuffing Saquon Barkley, making Jalen Hurts beat them. I think a lot of it had to do with the field last night. That I remember Sean Payton. I think he was the head coach of the New Orleans Saints, and he counseled with somebody. I think that on the team that played with Green Bay or some affiliated with Green Bay that was on their team now. And he asked them what was the best shoes to wear playing on Lambeau Field, because there was a lot of slippage last night. And he gave these particular, I forget what kind of shoes they were, but it was a shoe that nobody liked to wear. It hurt your feet. So what Sean Payton had, I think the owner at the time was not Mickey Loomis, I forget the name, Gail. The wife is the owner now. And, the wife is the owner now, and but at the time I think the husband was. So he hired foot masseuse. After the game, they hired foot masseuse to come in and massage the player's foot, because the type of shoe you need to wear in Lambeau, it hurts your feet. It hurts your feet. So that's the extent of how bad Lambeau Field is, especially when it's elements. And now you're going to try to speed. I can't stand truck drivers. I swear to God, I can't stand y'all bitch ass truck drivers. Because y'all just be doing some hoe ass shit in them trucks, dog. I get it. Some of y'all get paid by the load and all that. But man, I can't stand y'all, bro. I can't stand them. And then when they spin out and crash or some shit, they want to be looking, I'll pack you up. Pack you up and put you in the paddy wagon. But yesterday was a lot of slippage yesterday on that field. And one thing they did was stop the run with or without Lane Johnson. They stopped the run. Saquon had a couple good runs, and they forced Jalen Hurts to beat him. And Jalen Hurts can't beat you with his arm, and it was a little slick out there too. I mean, he had that one. The difference was they gave up that 36-yard touchdown to Devontae Smith. That was the difference. Jalen Hurts not running like he used to run last year. Defenses have studied them last year, stopped their run. Also a new offensive coordinator. And Green Bay, mental lapse cost them the football game. A 36-yard bomb, it cost them a football game. Philadelphia, them going to get that Jalen Phillips guy that we was trying to get. The third round was expensive for two guys coming off a guy coming off two major leg injuries for sure. But he was effective last night. He pushed the pocket. They brought Brandon Graham back. It looked like Jalen Carter whipping the shape. And, Josh Jacobs had some success running the ball last night. He surely did. Some. But ultimately, Jordan Love missed some throws. I mean, it happens every game for Jordan Love. Jordan Love is very erratic with his accuracy. It ain't just in the clutch. And when we played them week one, that game shouldn't even been the closest it was. That game should have been really, really statistically, they should have been up by 20 by half. He just misses some throws. He missed throws that put the game out of reach. That's my main complaint. Like a lot of the situations Green Bay be in down the stretch, they shouldn't even be in those situations, because he's missing throws in the beginning of the game that can separate them. Down the stretch. It wouldn't even be a competitive ball game. And last night he missed some throws down the stretch last night. But really, when I watch him, he missed throws early in the game that could set them 6 points, 14 points, 21 points apart. He missed those type of throws. And down the stretch, he missed throws. Josh Jacobs had a mental lapse. Instead of breaking the route off, and I think he went upfield instead of breaking it off. I mean, Jordan Love is very erratic with his accuracy. And I don't mean in the crunch, just in general. Just in general, he's erratic. You know? And, you know, Philadelphia won a slobber night. And, you know, I know they said it was the first time in, I think in so many years, they had a scoreless first half of a football game. That was a real winner slobber knocker. That's what football, you know, sometimes supposed to look like. They ain't supposed to score a bunch of points. Sometimes it's hard to move that ball when you on that slick tundra in Lambeau. This is when you talk about the running game travel. This is when you talk about teams find a way to win football games. And despite what's going on with Philly with A.J. Brown and the offensive coordinator Jalen Hurts and the defense, you know, getting healthy and bringing guys in, Philly found a way to win. They find a way to win. In Green Bay, they ain't got there yet. Their quarterback is too erratic. And Michael Parsons is making all the difference in the world. These quarterbacks has got to get the ball out their hand. And if you speed up Jalen Hurts, and the offensive line is struggling this year, honestly. But if you speed up Jalen Hurts, if you speed him up, like he's hit or miss if he got time. So, but then you talk about, you know, Minnesota, you know, Baltimore, look now. I think they lost like 4 or 5 straight. Look now, they 4-5 and right there next to Pittsburgh. You know, and now down the stretch, they got a couple easy games. Cleveland, Bengals, you know, and Minnesota, you know, for the most part, most people gonna write that Lions win off as, hey, it was a John Morton thing and Dan Campbell had to take over, and people gonna write that off. Excuse me. So, you know, Baltimore came in there. They starting to get it together at the right time. You know, they starting to find a rhythm. They called this one play. I think it was on the 3rd down or 4th. It might have been the 3rd down. They was in the red zone. The game was still in reach. They called a play, and Brian Flores called a blitz, or he had everybody at the line. They pulled the offensive line to the right, and Lamar got jiggy with it, bro. He ran, so they feeling very confident. And like I said, you know, J.J. McCarthy, he got to be consistent. That's the next step for them, is McCarthy's consistency. So we'll see what happens. And in Chicago, I didn't watch much of that game. I thought the Giants was up. I think Jackson Dart got knocked out to the game. And some down the stretch, I believe Brian Daboll mismanaged the game down the stretch. They had a huge lead, and they lost. So Brian Daboll got fired. You know, Chicago Care Bears got a good win. And, you know, they're playing the last place schedule. They playing the Saints. They playing the Giants. And people don't know they playing teams they supposed to beat. You know what I'm saying? They got the last place schedule for a reason. You know, are they, you know, as good as Minnesota? No. Are they as good as Green Bay? No. Are they, you know, no, they're not. They just got a shitty ass schedule that favors them, and they're losing to these teams, and they're coming back versus sorry ass teams. So, but at the end of the day, a win is a win. But if they get into the playoffs or down the stretch, and they start getting into these division games with Minnesota, Detroit, Green Bay, you're gonna see if they real or not. But hey, check out the NFC North playlist. Hit the link tree. You can find me everywhere. Peace.